Coming this fall, the story of a grape who refuses to be crushed. One grape to rule them all, and one bottle to bind them.
Whoa, honey, what are you doing?
I was recording an intro.
Okay, that's great, but we got a podcast to do.
Okay.
All right, well, this is We Know Texas Vino.
Will, buddy, how you doing?
Well, I would do better if I would actually start hitting the record button.
So for our listeners, this is so much fun. We're so happy to be back, by the way. We Know
Yes.
Texas Vino, episode 45, to wrap up our 2023 year of success. But Will and I have been recording for the last 45 minutes, we thought. And so we get take two now. We're going to have a lot of fun. Will, why are you smiling? You got that boyish grin on there. What happened?
I think the problem was because I hadn't had enough wine in me yet.
Yeah, so the first thing he said, everyone, is when we realized we weren't recording and we've gone through 3/4 of our end of the year podcast, he put his headphones down and he goes, "We need more wine." That's always a solution for Will and me. We need more wine. But anyway, it's good to see you, my friend.
Yes,
what a great year it's been. So welcome everyone back to We Know Texas Vino, episode 45. We're going to wrap up the year with this episode. We're going to thank some people. We're going to get into some highlights and some just memories that we were able to create this year. We're going to talk about some of the other things that we're doing, some adjustments and modifications for 2024, some ideas that I know, Will, you're super excited about.
Yep.
And then, of course, a lot of thank yous. And so we're going to do that real quick over the next couple minutes on this podcast. But again, what a great year, Will. I mean, what can you believe it?
Man, you know, when we first started this, January 18th of this year,
Okay,
actually,
very good.
You know, I didn't know what was going to happen. You know,
Yes.
I didn't know if we were going to take off and just be a total sprint the whole time, or if we were going to run a couple bit and then we're going to have, you know, hit a little stump and fall on our face flat, and that was it.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
It's just like any unique thing you do in this world, though. I mean, you got to get out of your comfort zone. And then some people, I've even taught my own kids. I teach people this all the time, adults and kids alike. Sometimes you just got to fall flat in order to learn, in order to grow, in order to get out of your comfort zone. It's so much fun, but we didn't fall flat. Things are going great.
Now, we've had a couple hiccups.
Sure.
Those are hiccups, though. Those are not falling flat.
Well, the number one hiccup in my mind, having all our equipment stolen a couple weeks ago. That was not cool.
Yeah,
so whoever's doing their own podcast now, congratulations. Good luck with your endeavors. I hope you're doing very well.
And I will find you.
Yeah, we will find you. We'll find your podcast. But well, listen, folks, We Know Texas Vino started as just a brief thought, just a kind of a glance at an idea. And Will, I'll give you credit for that for sure. You're the one who said that would be a lot of fun. We both love wine. We both love meeting people. We both love talking. And we certainly enjoyed the experiences. But yeah, so it's come to fruition. It actually happened. So thank you to all our listeners for sure. We'll thank you guys big time here in a minute. But you know, we just want to talk about a couple things here real quick before we get into kind of our meat and potatoes of the day. And that is, of course, we want to talk about our sponsors. Which is super important. So we're just going to briefly talk about it. But again, thank you to our sponsors. We're looking for more sponsors for 2024. We certainly will open up our minds when it comes to building that relationship and having a lot of fun with that. But let's talk about our first one, Texas Wine Club. What about these people down there in Fredericksburg?
You know, when we first got introduced to them from Amy and Jeff, they were like, you need to talk to them. These guys are about to blow up. And
perfect.
They showcase all of Texas wines.
Yes, they do.
And they do the best of the best.
Yeah.
They do blind tastings. They do all kinds of little tastings. And they recently just opened up a tasting room.
And what's cool about it is I've used this word, and I hope it's not bad, but it's kind of like the Amazon.com of Texas wine. So they do the blind tastings, and they send out different wines from around the state. And how cool is it to be part of that? You know, you go through the taste test, and then they put it in a box. They mail it to you in Timbuktu, Texas, which is pretty cool. And you get to try new wines from around the state.
And what's really cool, what I love about it is that, you know, sometimes people just can't get away to go to some wineries.
Sure.
So if you get some wine from them and you like their wine, you can actually then say, okay, you know what? I want to go to that winery now and try more of their wines. And that's what's great about it.
And that's what we do with this podcast is that we're like, hey, this is a great winery. Come check it out. Here's the owner. Here's the staff. Here's what's going on. Come check it out. And so that's what they're doing with Texas Wines.
Yep.
Our second one is actually, I'm extremely fond of these guys, even though the Texas Wine Club, again, smart guys. But I have this kindred thing with The Godfather down with a Texas Wine Lover app. And of course their website. But man, Amy and Jeff are incredible. Thank you to what you guys are doing down there. That is extraordinary, the technological advances they're doing.
Yep.
But really what they're doing is they're highlighting wineries across the state of Texas, several hundred wineries on an app and on a website. And they are doing a great job, especially those filters. Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
You know, I will have to say what Jeff started out doing And Jeff actually started out as a podcast himself.
You should refer to him as the Godfather.
Oh, sorry, the Godfather. He started out as a podcast as well and decided to go into the app side of it, which he did such an amazing job of it. And Amy has so much input into our podcast and how we should do it, and gave us ideas and some suggestions and even guidance in some cases.
Absolutely.
And I've emailed her back and forth. She and I've had some banter back and forth, and Jeff and I has talked back and forth on Facebook, and both of them are just so well. I don't want to say educated, because that's not the word.
Well, they're intelligent,
very
sharp.
Intelligent people. Yep. And sometimes when I have an idea and I will bounce it off one or both of them, sometimes their response is great, and the other one says you need to dig a small hole.
Well, that's funny. Well, I remember Amy was on the phone with you. I think here where we're at right now, we're actually at my home in North Dallas, and we were on the phone with her talking about kind of how we were going to make this happen. And of course, to both Jeff and Amy, we're grateful for your involvement, not only with the wine community in the state of Texas and beyond, but also thank you for what you've done for us. So that's pretty cool. Yep. And then our third sponsor, flywithwine.com, is our newest sponsor, solving wine shipping problems and dilemmas. What a fun concept. And I believe you just saw them on a television show.
Yeah, they were actually on Shark Tank, I believe.
Okay, Shark Tank. That's cool. Yeah. And so this is a great concept, something that I know that a lot of people can utilize, but having a shipping device, a suitcase that will hold wine appropriately and get it to point B. How cool is that?
Well, I mean, if whether you're in the States, flying out of state, and heaven forbid buy wine from another state, not Texas. Actually, let me rephrase that, another country that's not Texas. Or if you fly out of the country of the United States, and buy wine, you want to get them as quick as possible.
Bring them with you.
And you can load them up in the suitcase, check it in, and the money that you'll spend on shipping it in a box, you can ship it with your suitcase, and you already have it when you land.
That is so cool. So you'll have it in your storage facility at your home. I know you have a pretty impressive one, and I think I do okay myself. And I had a gentleman put a safe in my house today, and I said, you don't know where it is. And so when he looked at my additional bottles of wine, which was right next to where the safe is. My wine should go in the safe, but it was actually stored next to my safe. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, he's like, wow, you have a lot of wine. I'm like, I do okay. I like to collect. So Yahoo, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, thank you, those sponsors. Again, we're looking for more sponsors always. We're going to be traveling a lot more in 2024. We're going to be heading all directions of the state of Texas. And so, yeah, it's a big state. If you didn't know, it is the second largest state in the country. So next to Alaska, right?
Well, so what kind of Alaska?
No, it's off somewhere. It's up by Russia somewhere. But yeah. So, and then real quick, let's talk about, Will, and this is all you, bro. This is all you, all the social platforms we have and some of the adjustments you're making with websites and web pages.
Yeah, well, you can find us on Facebook at We Know Texas Vino, and coming in the next couple of weeks, I will be making changes on how our Facebook presence is done. Right now, it's currently as a Facebook page, and there's not a lot of options that you get to do with that. Not a lot of features. So I'm want to start moving people over to our Facebook group, which will allow us to have a little bit more features, like doing polls and more interaction with our users, our listeners. Look at that, Meredith. You're already bleeding over.
Yeah.
But we're going to have more interaction with our listeners by going to a Facebook group page.
Right.
So be looking on the outlook for that. Outlook for that? Is that what we're looking for? Look out for that.
Look out.
Yeah. So I will be sending out a big.
So when we had to restart the podcast, we also had more wine. Is that why that word did not come to your mind?
Yes. So I will be sending out massive email invites out to everyone for that. Yes.
That sounds good.
I only have one glass of wine, guys.
All right. Well, let's move on. But yeah, that'll be fun. And just, thanks guys for the 5-star ratings and for all the great interaction, the feedback that we're getting from you folks. We do listen. We do take notes. And certainly all the wineries you guys have been suggesting, all the great locations, we do write those things down. And we're absolutely 100% committed to being at those locations. So thank you for all that feedback.
And we actually just I put a post on our page just the other day asking, suggestions of wineries that we need to visit. And I've already got a huge list that we've already had suggestions.
That's so good. So that's extremely, extremely exciting and remarkable. So yeah, keep it up, folks. We're very grateful for that. So let's move on to kind of my favorite part of the show, I think, today, our recap of 2023. And that's the highlights and the things that we've experienced.
But before we move to that, we actually should
give one more thing.
We should actually give thanks to the people who have contributed
Well, I have that listed
contributed.
down here. I have it right here.
Like the people who have helped out with us.
You want to do that first?
Yeah, let's do that because
Okay, I've got it written down here.
There's a lot of people that's helped us out.
Well, let me throw out a name, and you give me your input, kind of your fun recollections, and then hang them, and then I will also add to your thoughts. Does that sound good? Or maybe we can take turns. But the first one is, how about Erica Woods?
Yeah, Erica has been such a instrumental part of this podcast.
Absolutely.
I mean, she stood in for me while I was in class.
Yeah.
And so it's so amazing that she was able to sit down and learn all this like quickly and do all the
soundboards and she did the technology. She was definitely a big part of it. Yeah. In fact, Blue Ostrich, if folks listen to that episode, that was Erica, my wife, and I doing that. And Will, you were at class learning how to make wine, which is kind of cool. So yeah, she is awesome. Of course, she is my favorite broadcaster in the world. So gotta love her. How about Jen and Randall?
I never did like that, Jen.
No, she's trouble. She's redheaded trouble.
No, Jen is, what can we not say about Jen?
She's phenomenal.
Jen is phenomenal. We miss her on the show. I mean, she was really great with doing the education part. It brought that whole next level stuff on here. And Randall, I mean, you can't forget Randall. I mean,
he's amazing.
Randall's a great roadie.
Yeah, good roadie.
Great roadie. But no, Randall had such a great personality that he brought. Yes. Also, even though it was off air a lot of the times, but he just brought that little extra that we needed.
He's so friendly and so cooperative. He's obviously a good man, but he's also so bright and funny. I mean, he's just a riot. And so to have him, and I know he's going to be helping us out a little bit this next year with some of the, if I'm busy or you're busy, he's going to be right there. And I know he's agreed to that. So Randall will be a big part of 2024.
Yep.
And we're grateful to Jen and Randall. And ironically, they were married this past year as well, 2023. So kind of a cool year for them. And congratulations to that beautiful matrimony. I think that's sensational. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
How about Robert?
Who's Robert? Robert is my stepdad who has now started doing this podcast with us, and you'll actually probably hear more about him this year as well.
Sure.
Because some of the episodes we have to do will be on Saturdays, and he has done such a good job standing in. In fact, when we did Moody, it was funny watching him. He was sitting there rubbing his leg.
He was nervous, I heard.
But it's funny is
he told me he wasn't nervous, but he was.
He was definitely nervous.
Okay, Robert.
You could definitely hear it in his voice, and you could in person and stuff. But he did such an amazing job, and I'm proud of him for doing that. And hopefully we can hear more of him this next year.
Yeah.
And it was great.
Well, I think it's good for him too, and good to be out there and do something new. Not new because he comes from a little bit of radio, I believe, but he's just a really fun guy. And he's for me and my family, he's done nothing but take care of us. So he's been a really good part of our year. It's been really fun. So thank you, Robert, for that. And tell us about your mom real quick. Your mom's kind of behind the scenes and just doing, her thing, but she's always positive influence.
Yeah. I think mom only came just to drink wine. I'm just kidding. No, my mom actually helped us get our shirts together. And actually she works for a florist in Rusk, Texas. And the actual lady who actually did our shirts is Allie B's florist.
Okay, she's the embroiderer.
Yeah, she's the embroiderer that did our shirts for us.
Yeah, they're cool shirts.
Yeah, we love our shirts. We walk around proudly with those on.
You know what the funny part of that is we all had shirts except for Randall down in Fredericksburg. So Randall, sorry about that, buddy.
Well, I am working on getting him some shirts too. Because it's only fair that
I think he's a tank top.
Yeah, actually, I think he's a baby tee.
That's awesome.
But I mean, we want to thank my mom for doing that.
She's cool. Yeah, she's amazing. She's again taking care of us. We had a little party at your house a couple weeks ago, just to kind of celebrate the year and the success of the show. And she was there, and she came out with a cheese plate that was ridiculous, world class,
massive cheese. I still got cheese left over.
You still have cheese from that? Yeah, I still am feeling the results of that cheese episode. So no, I'm joking, but it was great. So thanks for all you guys. And then the last one I have on my list is just my son Tristan, who lives down in Austin, Texas. He is pretty notorious for messing around with different beats on the computer.
Yep.
He's very, very smart, and he's very technologically sound especially when it comes to music. But he's hardworking. He's an athlete, but he loves music, and he created our little ditty for us, our little sound.
Yeah, and it's really awesome, and it actually it's perfect for what we want.
Yeah. Not too harsh, not too brutal. Just good.
Every podcast has to have that jingle.
Our little jingle.
And that's our jingle. That's perfect little jingle. And I hope he trademarks that so no one else can take it.
Well, it should be his.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I know he had a couple of friends that he went to high school with and in college a little bit, but he all around the country, and they share those different jingles. So that's his. That's Tristan's jingle. So pretty cool. Well, good. Well, let's move on to our highlights then. And our highlights are numerous, folks. Oh, my gosh. It's so many different highlights. And I know Will tends to get bit more personal, more specific with his.
Well,
I'm more generalized, and I think that's just how we're wired.
I think, when we talk about memorable moments in our podcast history, we'll just call it that. Okay,
I like it.
I think we need to actually pinpoint certain things.
Sure.
I mean, because every milestone is a memorable thing.
Yeah.
Every moment is a memorable thing. And yes, I'm only 21 years old.
Yeah.
And I do remember
times 2 plus some change.
But I do remember every event, that every winery they have gone to, and what was about that winery that has been very memorable.
Well, why don't you break out your first one? What was one of your highlights of the year?
Well, my very first one is actually going to be with Chris out there at Edge of the Lake.
Okay.
And I remember when I first presented this to him, and he was like, sure, let's do this. I don't know what we're going to do, but let's do this.
All right.
And we sat there with one microphone for all three of us, and a cheap soundboard at that, the very first soundboard. And we tried to figure this out, and it worked. It came out.
Right.
It did great.
Right.
And we were all sitting there nervous.
Yeah, we were. I'm going to disclose right now. I was because I come from presenting and talking in advanced debate and radio, but I was actually kind of nervous because I was kind of intimidated a little bit.
It is, because it's something new.
Yeah.
Something I've never done.
Now I don't care. I'm like, bring it.
Yeah. And with that being said, I always hated my voice.
Oh.
Now I don't have a problem with it.
No, I think you have a great voice. Very, very Texas. I love it very much. But Chris was great. And the few times I've bumped into him since that podcast, which was in January, I believe, nothing but highlights as well.
Yep.
Super fun. I recently married. Just a great winery, great family, great staff. Just really fun. They were at our blind tasting down in Grapevine, Texas, and just a really solid human being. So nice takeaway.
Yeah. And, I have to say, his lovely bride, Sin, also
trouble.
She's a handful.
Yeah, she's a handful.
And I'm surprised he was able to keep a lasso on her.
She was trying to inspire my wife down there in Grapevine. I'm like, oh, we're in big trouble down there. Chris, let's get it taken care of. But yeah, it's cool. Well, my first one is pretty cool. It's just the geography, where we've been around the state of Texas. And so I put down the word geography, but really it's just the different venues, the different locations, the hills, the plains, wherever it is. It's just so much fun checking out the vineyards and the tasting rooms and all the cool places I may not have gone to being new to Texas had I not been doing this podcast. So for me, one of the highlights easily was checking out the cool locations around the state.
Yeah. I mean, being new drinking wine myself, every location that we've gone to was like, holy cow, this place is freaking beautiful. And you never saw the same decor at two wineries.
Right. No, it was cool. Yeah. And so, just the uniqueness of where we went, whether it was, again, I took a lot of pictures this year, Will, of lakes and trees and things that, the wilderness and the things
Buffalo.
Yeah.
Longhorns.
Tatanka. Yeah. Well, that's true. We can talk about wildlife here in a minute, but I saw a lot of wildlife this year too. But it was cool. So for me, it was just geography. It was pretty cool. Yeah. How about your number two?
So this one right here is probably, one of our more comical ones.
Okay.
This is before it really got comical later on in our series. But Bingham with Marissa and Jen, our very first time there. Do you remember what happened that very first time?
Well, I remember a couple things about it. Well, number one, we had to pull the podcast because our audio was horrible.
Yeah,
so we had to learn. We had to grow from that. But the other thing is, it was the first time we nailed someone with like a serious 60 minutes question that they couldn't answer because of legalities, right?
Yep.
And so that was your first one. And then so here I am on my high horse going, Will, you really shouldn't ask people about that. And what did I do the next time we interviewed them?
You did it again.
I did it this time. I asked them a question they couldn't answer because of some sort of legal, a lawsuit or a suit or something that was going on. And I'm like, oops, I guess I did it this time.
And it was comical watching Marissa both times.
Yeah.
When I asked the question and then you asked the question, and that look on her face, I mean, she looks at both of us and are like, how dare y'all ask this question?
Yeah.
But she's trying to be like very professional about it.
Right.
And so it was definitely, it was fun.
Right. I'm trying to be like the perfect 60 minutes interviewer and asking the tough questions.
Walter Cronkite.
Yeah. And was it George Wallace, whatever his name is? And so here I am now asking a question that cannot be answered. What is it?
Barbara Walters.
I'm the perfect Barbara Walters. That's right. I got the same voice. But anyway, yeah. And so that was funny and good and fun and enjoyable. But yeah, we had to learn a lot. And it's, the memory is really good for me because, we are able to adjust and we're willing to modify.
Yes, most definitely.
Cool. Well, my second one is a fun one. It's the welcoming atmosphere. All the places we went to, they have this sense of open arms. Come join us. Come see what we're excited about, which was pretty cool. And I wrote a word down here called coopetition. This cooperation across the board from all these wine owners, the winemakers, the staff, and helping each other out, whether it's in times of need or just in general, whether it's some sort of a festival, helping out with a tent, whatever it is. Just a really cool open arm policy with everyone. Not one couple or not one owner, not one member that we met, not one person had some sort of this selfish attitude. It was really cool to see. And
what's amazing is you see every one of these winemakers and owners all get together and have good times with each other.
Yeah, they do.
It's if you go to California, and I've heard this from several people, if you go to California, it's pretty cutthroat, cut and dry. We won't help you out because if you're having a problem. But I've heard
with exceptions, there's probably exceptions.
Yeah, there's probably some exceptions. But I hear a lot of people say when they come to Texas and they look at the wineries here in Texas, they're so friendly and they're willing to help out each other and make sure each other succeeds. So that way, no one fails.
Well, if it's noticeable, it's actually noticeable to see it, then they're doing something right.
Yep.
Okay, and that's what's so cool. So that's my second takeaway, or my second memory, or my highlight is just how awesome people are when it comes to helping each other out. It's pretty awesome. How about your third one?
So this is a tribute to Michael Barton.
Oh, okay. And who's Michael Barton?
Michael Barton is the winemaker at Hilmy Winery
down in Fredericksburg.
And he was pre-med. And we were talking about barrel maintenance.
Yeah.
And he dropped a little, did you know the hole on the barrel is called a bung?
Bung.
Yeah. And so it's a hole. So it's a bung hole. And so I asked him about how do they clean the barrels to get them ready for the next, thing of wine. And he said they use a steamer and a flashlight to stick in there. And to be honest with you, when I made this comment, I wasn't thinking about it. I was like, why don't you just stick a camera in there? And
Will's mind always goes to the dark side.
But it's what's comical is the look on your face when I said that.
Well, you know what it was is I can't believe he went there. We were all thinking it. I can't believe you went there, Will. You actually said it on air, which is pretty crazy. But that was fun. And Michael Barton was an absolute treat. I had mentioned on the podcast, that was actually one of the highlights for me meeting someone. I'd heard so much about him. Yes. It was really cool to interview he and the staff there, the ownership, which was really cool.
And that is definitely probably one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
I can't say that none of the wineries we've been to are my favorite ones, but that's one of my favorite ones.
Oh, for sure. Well, yeah, that and the other 45, right?
Yeah, the other 45.
Well, my third one is pretty cool, I think, and that's just the different wines we've tried, which is cool. In fact, right now we're drinking a wine from Firelight Vineyards up in Valley View, Texas, which is kind of cool. This is the Trailblazer. We just tried to break that out tonight on behalf of Meredith, which was probably the funniest moment we've had all year. But just the wines, getting out of my comfort zone. A lot of people go through life, drinking one or two different types of wine. We've had dozens of different types of wine. And what's cool about that is I was kind of locked into one or two wineries here in Texas, Will. And, when you're locked into it, you're pretty proud of them. You almost take like a little bit of ownership in them because you're like, okay, I'm a wine club member. This is the best wine in the state. And here is my highlight, and that is that I realized there are great wines everywhere in the state. People are doing a wonderful job.
When I started drinking wine, I was drinking wine from one specific winery.
Right.
And we did this podcast, and I started drinking wine from other ones.
Yes.
And, I had to say that Texas wines, even if you get the grapes from the same vine, they're different.
Yeah.
And you cannot make the same one twice.
No. And you can't prejudge or predetermine what you think you're going to drink. It's just amazing.
Yeah. And I have now come to love like Cab Franc and Petit Verdot and Syrah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. And no matter where you get those, there's going to be a difference in it.
Yeah.
It's the terroir that comes to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think it's kind of almost like breathtaking to think that, I was so stuck in almost like this little box, and now I'm outside of that box and enjoying. In fact, my wine collection I have dozens of different types. In fact, you mentioned Petit Verdot, which is something now I'm super fond of. I'm just absolutely in love with it. So bring it on, man. I'm excited about that. So the different wines. How fun is that? Whites, reds, rosés. We have some great rosés. Oh my gosh, just incredible.
I had a really great white from Hilmy the other day.
Oh, you did? That's right. Yeah. You ate with some good food, didn't you?
I had that Tejas Blanc.
Oh my gosh.
With some chicken piccata.
Well, making all of us hungry. Our listeners are drooling as we're talking here. Well, what was your fourth takeaway or your fourth highlight?
My fourth highlight is so we went to RK which is a very amazing winery. And we sat there and talked
Beautiful.
to Grayson and Howard. And as we were leaving, I can't remember if it was one of his staff or of his wife.
Or his mom, maybe.
Or his mom
Yeah.
said, hey, you need to go check out Lonesome Vine. So I contacted Lonesome Vine, and they're only open on the weekends for right now. And we had just got the new soundboard, not the one we got right now, but another
The second one.
The second one.
All right.
And we sat out there, and we got there, and we got to talking to Andrew and Christy.
Right.
And Christy's like, well, I'm not going to talk very much.
Right.
And we're like, okay, no big deal.
Even though
And-
you can sense she's spunky and
Oh, yeah.
fun and all
yeah.
that, but she's like, oh, I'm not going to talk much.
Yeah. And she kind of like dominated the conversation.
and deservingly, she had a
Yes.
lot to say, which was good. And it was
Oh,
all
yeah.
beautiful. But yeah, they are a wonderful couple out there. But she was fun. In fact, we joked earlier that she had talked about 81.7% of the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And again, deservingly, she had a lot
Yeah.
of great information.
Yeah.
So it was pretty fun. So we're thinking about you guys over there at Lonesome Vine.
Yeah, and I think what one thing happened that made you tickle so much that Andrew said.
Yeah.
Was it warm poo?
Warren Poo, I forgot what it was, but like he just dropped that 3 times in the last 2 minutes. So that's very good.
That made Michael tickle
And
a little bit.
Andrew, brilliant, just a total winner. He's going to
Oh,
have,
yeah.
he's doing something special up
And-
there.
and
He and his
there's-
awesome wife, Christy.
Their Lonesome Vine is going to have something special coming up.
Well, that's a
so.
good one. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
So for me, number 4 is the different business models. Did you notice, Will, every place we went to, there was something uniquely different about each location,
Yep.
whether it's a longhorn or a blue ostrich, or whether it's the trees or the lakes or the rivers or all of that stuff. It's just amazing.
Now, was the ostrich really blue?
What they call it, blue ostrich.
Well, but was the ostrich itself blue?
No, but they
Okay.
call them, I think they must have blue something because it was actually a blue ostrich.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's red ostriches and orange ostrich. I don't
Oh,
know. But I know it's called a blue ostrich.
Now, my curiosity did
Yeah.
they say you're my boy blue?
No, I don't know about that. I didn't hear that when I was there, but I did. Every ounce of my boyhood wanted to go chase an ostrich.
I dare you to do that. I so want to do that.
Oh my
man.
gosh! But
But
anyway, fun. The great locations we
Yeah.
went to, and I took a ton of pictures this year. I think maybe I mentioned it earlier in this podcast, but pictures of just of trees and the different changing seasons, and then just seeing what's happening there, seeing what they've done, building ponds and building vineyards, and just really a fun deal.
Oh yeah, and we went and saw Michelle out at Triple N Winery, and she said that Andrew, when she was going to class there, Andrew said, "What are you going to do for your winery that's going to stand out from everybody else?" And I think that's what you got to have. Is you got to have an idea and a thought for your winery to stick out like a sore thumb, and
Absolutely.
so that way people want to come to you and be memorable about you.
Take pictures.
Take pictures. Yeah, take pictures.
Memories.
Yeah, memories. Have Longhorns, have Buffalo, have good food.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, one place I really love good food from is when they have a brick oven pizza.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
You sold me right there. OG and Triple N.
Triple N. Yeah, Triple N. That was a good one.
Yeah. So stuff like that right there will make you memorable.
Well, it's attractive to the community, but it's also attractive to all the people who come in from Houston or San Antonio or Austin, wherever you're coming from, Louisiana or New Mexico, to experience that. It's really cool. So yeah, for number 4 for me was just that different business model. Really cool that people are being unique and creative. And number 5?
My number 5. Oh man, when
we checked 5.
When we first recorded this.
Yes, when we first tried to record it.
When we first tried to record it, I my number 5 actually had to get changed.
Yeah.
And I want to change it to Red River Production at KK.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember what she did when we were out there? When we first showed up there, what she did?
Yes, I do. And first of all, she's incredibly special. She is a very neat woman. She's just caring and kind and smart and all those things. But she had made Texas Vino. She had personalized all the napkins, all of the tablecloth. I think we had name tags even. She completely personalized everything for us.
Yeah, we got there and we had little name placards that had our name on it.
Yep.
It said We Know Texas Vino on it. She had our glasses of wines already poured for us.
Yep.
We had cheese and almonds and all of that.
It was amazing.
And it was just, she made that experience there coming to her place.
Yeah.
So amazing.
Yeah.
And to this day, I actually still talk to her and bounce things off her.
I'm surprised she talks to you, but
she loves everybody.
Okay, she does.
Yeah. But it was just a memorable moment there. and what she's doing out there and what she started doing
Sure.
and her ideas and thoughts and everything is so amazing. And
Cool.
she is such an amazing young lady.
Well, and you are kind of like unofficially mentored by her a little bit, or is that
Yeah.
kind of, can I
Yeah.
say that? Because
Yeah.
you know, she's giving you a lot of great advice and she's there for you 100%. You know,
I
trying
would
to,
think that.
yeah, she's amazing. Yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's cool.
We text every once in a while.
Well, my fifth one is basically running the same line. And I just wrote down the word people. I mean, I absolutely 100%. We always joke that I could adopt everyone, right? But literally, I want to be friends. I want to be someone they can lean on. And I want to be around them. The people we have met this year are extraordinary. And just the laughter and the fun and the highlights and the kindred spirits. I mean, you're talking about people who are just absolutely incredible. And to me, I mean, even from Chris, when we first did our first podcast,
Yep.
all the way through, these are people, if I see them on the street, we're going to have a great relationship.
Oh,
We're gonna
yeah.
talk and laugh and have fun. But, you know, the Roxannes and the Jameses and all these people who are just so instrumental now. And so it gave me, I've always loved people and I love life and I love the world. And I love I'm very optimistic, but it just gave me a renewed reminder that people are awesome. And
Right.
when you're putting a little extra energy into your creativity and your entrepreneurship and you're getting out of your comfort zone and taking a risk, which I think is adventurous, I think it's very impressive. And the people I met this year are extraordinary.
Yeah. And you know, I bring up the 5 that I have here. And of course, those are just the 5 top memories right there.
Right.
Every winery we went to has created a memory. I mean, you run up Roxanne, you know, she came over there and sat down with us and brought 6 bottles of wine.
Yeah, she was fun. She was totally fun.
We had a blast. We just through the conversations we had with her and stuff, and what we learned from her.
Sure.
And then just going to different wineries, we had a blast, and
Yep.
we made memories with those.
Well, let's thank our wineries real quick. We're going to do a quick little, because we want to keep this podcast, you know, to under 7 hours. So let's go ahead and just let's go through. And I know we're on our podcast schedule here, and just kind of thank all the wineries. Does that sound good, Will, to do? I'll start it off when you're ready, buddy.
Go ahead.
Okay, here we go. So I just want to thank these wineries, and we're not going to talk too much about it other than it was a great experience. Each and every one. Edge of the Lake, for sure. Bingham Winery, fun. RK, Hidden Hanger, Lost Oak Winery, Lonesome Vine, 4R Ranch, Vineyard, and Winery.
Then we got Marker Cellar. And then we have Deshane Winery. We got TXWine.com, or Texas Wine Club.
Down in Fredericksburg.
Then we got Rustic Spur. We got Elisa Christopher. And we got Firelight.
Yes, and Firelight was a lot of fun. In fact, after this episode, we might have to play that laughing spell we had with Meredith, right? Lone Star Cellars, amazing. Rancho Sereno. OG Cellars, that was good. That was a 2-parter, by the way.
Yep.
Breaking Bud Vineyard. And then, of course, we have Eden Hill.
And then, of course, you know, we talked about KK a while ago. We got Red River Wines and Provisions at Hartman Vineyard. We got Serrano. We got Slate Theory. We got Texas Wine Lover. And we got Hilmy.
Yeah, Hilmy was fun. And also down in Fredericksburg, one of my favorites was the Texas Heritage. That was a lot of fun. And then we did something special, something unique up here in Denton, Texas. We went to Steve's Sports Bar and had Steve's Wine Bar, and had a great time. They served Texas wines there. And it was really great interviewing Steve. Casaro, we have Cedar Hollow Winery. And then, of course, Jen, our friend, did a 2-part series on blind tasting and, of course, how you actually appreciate wines.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have Blue Ostrich, and then Michael Cook, which is
That big name. That's fun.
Big name, has such great knowledge there.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And then we got Square Cloud, and then we got Piaf, which we love Piaf.
What is Piaf's?
Piaf is a French Mediterranean that serves Texas wine in
That's
Grapevine.
right. In Grapevine, Texas, and
Yep.
they were super hospitable. I mean, that was
yeah.
the neatest couple ever. They're here now. I adopted them. They're back in the room right now.
Locked them in the cage.
Moody Family Wines, Live Happy Lane Winery. Tiffany was fun. Tiffany Toby, we interviewed her. She's an amazing young som, and I think she's in Italy. I think she's in Italy right now. Maybe
Actually, I saw
She
her in
back
Lubbock. I don't think she's in Lubbock right now.
Okay, yeah, she's amazing. Get to know her. She is a great asset to the state of Texas and Texas wine industry. And then, of course, we have our Two Brothers Winery.
And then, of course, we had our Triple N Winery, and then Terra Winery, and our last winery we had was Rossini.
And that was a lot of fun. And
That
that's
was.
actually, we posted today. That's actually on our podcast session today, which is cool. And then, you know, spread throughout there, we had a couple other episodes where we kind of did highlights and talked about our successes and our failures and that sort of thing. We did a blind tasting, which was a lot of fun. That was kind of cool. We need to work on that, of course. And then, you know, just we're excited because people are giving us other wineries and different places to go to enjoy 2024. Pretty much in the same manner, only brand new areas, right?
Yep, that is correct.
Okay.
By the way, I'm sitting here looking at our podcasting stuff.
Yes.
As of right now, we have 49 actual episodes.
49. So number 50 will be the first one of the year next year.
Oh, no, 50 will be this one.
Oh, this is 50. No, that's pretty cool.
When this gets published, this will be 50.
So, okay, so it's the 50th episode because we split a few, but it's our 45th episode. But yeah, I see what you're saying. So number 50, that's pretty impressive for a year.
Yeah, it is.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, you got a confused look on your face. Well, let's shift gears here real quick, and then we're going to wrap it up here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for hanging with us. But changes and ideas for 2024, Will.
Oh man, we got a whole slew of stuff.
We got stuff going on.
Yeah. So, I made mention earlier about our Facebook group. We're going to move that over to a Facebook group. We also going to try to do some events this year, and one of them actually kind of popped up multiple times this last year. So we're going to try to look into it as possibly doing like a cigar pairing.
That's cool. That came to fruition after a couple different ones, but really just a couple weeks ago, we ran into a professional cigar.
Yeah, a cigar aficionado.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So out at Triple N. And then, of course, when we were out at Valley View Wine Walk, I believe the owner to Cigar Internationals was out there. So we're going to try to hit those guys up and see if we can do maybe a couple wine and cigar pairings.
Is that what it's called, a pairing still with cigars? Yeah, that's pretty cool. So we're going to do that. Another thing we talked about doing is at least twice a year, if not three, just do some more blind tastings with some of our friends we've met in the industry and just get them out there and have them test their own wines, California, old world wines, Texas, wine from wherever, Connecticut. Right. And we want them to try that and see if they can find their own wines.
Yeah, we actually had a blast doing that, trying to do a blind tasting where they had to pick their own wine and then find the Rogue wine out of the whole thing.
Rogue.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. So,
I brought the Rogue. That was fun. That was cool. So that's another cool idea we have. And then just, continuing to, improve our technology. And the last few episodes, by the way, will have sounded really nice, very professional. And, we're getting into the Rogan era now.
We're not professional at all.
And
then there's actually one other event that we want to try to do this year.
Go ahead.
We wanted to try to do a blind and buy wine tasting.
Blind and buy. Couldn't describe that.
Okay, so basically how this blind and buy wine tasting will be is we will do a red, a white, and a rosé. And we will do a Texas wine, red, that matches with maybe a California or Old World wine or even a Washington wine. And then do the same thing with a white and same thing with the rosé. And basically what will happen is you have to do the tasting. And then whichever one you like, you don't get to know what they are. Which one you like, you have to buy that bottle before you leave.
I love it. That's fun. So we'll do some cool things. It could be a fundraiser. It could be a lot of different things. We can utilize that for people who are trying to do fundraising as well as our own. And then, of course, just share it with fun people around the state.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Cool. Anything else from that perspective?
And we're going to try to do some things this year. We definitely want to try to do a little bit more fundraising because, this podcast isn't free.
It's free to our listeners, but it's not free to us.
Yeah, everything that comes out of everything we do with this comes out of our pocket.
Sure.
So, if you want to donate, we're always open for donations.
Yeah. There's creative ways to do that too. Yeah. We can totally work with you.
I can come out and do a rain dance at your vineyard if you want.
Rain dance. Oh my gosh. I just had a visual. It's not good, ladies and gentlemen. Not good at all. Well, that is awesome. Well, anything else you want to share before we wrap it up for the day?
I want to, again, I can't thank everybody enough for the time and effort that you put in to help us with this podcast or allow us to come out and sit down and talk with you at your vineyard. 2024 is going to be bigger and better. And we're going to have such a bigger blast.
A much larger experience.
Yeah. But it's just, I can't say enough.
Yeah. It's been really good for both of us to be able to do this. And again, meeting the people and being around the state and even some of those drives, an hour drive, hour and a half drive, or even down to Fredericksburg, 3.5 hours, 4 hour drive was just a great experience for all of us. Right. So what do we always wrap up with, Will?
Well, you always want to end up with a quote.
A quote.
But before you say that.
Okay.
So this will actually be our last episode for the year.
Yep.
So this will be published out on Christmas Eve on December the 24th. There will not be an episode on December the 31st.
We did 50 this year. That was our goal.
Yep. Our next episode will be on January the 7th.
Okay.
And then we are going to work very hard to make sure we have an episode for y'all every week.
Yeah, and if you like the Sunday episode drop, I think that is important to hear. I think it works out pretty well. I know we've had a lot of people listening to them, and again, the feedback's been really fun. I think it's probably another highlight is just we're grateful. We're super grateful for everything. So, well, I have 3 quotes today to wrap it up. And lately you've been a little pessimistic about the deepness of my quotes.
I'm going to say when I edited Rossini's, I still had to sit there and think about.
You had to think about that one.
But you know what? After I got to think about it for a little bit, I actually kind of understood it.
Well, good,
because there's a lot of culture in wine,
but it's deep and it's philosophical and it's inspirational. So I have 3. I'm going to save the funniest one for the last. Okay, so this one's a little longer, ladies and gentlemen. And I research quotes. I dig it. It's a lot of fun. It's probably one of my weaknesses, but I like it a lot. But this one's from Hemingway. You know Hemingway?
Yes.
Yeah, he was a baseball player. No, I'm joking. Great poet, great author.
The baseball field.
Wine is one of the most civilized things in the world and one of the most natural things in the world that has been brought to the greatest perfection. And it offers a greater range for enjoyment and appreciation than possibly any other purely sensible thing. That's Hemingway. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Second one is from Lord Brian. You're going back to that one?
Hold on, wait a minute.
I know, it's deep.
That was a 20-minute quote.
No, 20-minute quote. It's like a 50-word quote. This one's shorter. This is from Lord Brian, whoever that is. Wine cheers the sad, revives the old, inspires the young, makes weariness forget the toil. Thank you very much.
We're going to pass that one.
Here we go. Last one. And then we were going to wrap it up for the day. Start the day with a smile and finish it with a glass of wine. Yahoo.
Amen. So I want to thank again everybody for this 2023.
Yep.
We will see y'all in 2024.
What an experience. What a treat. Yep. We love you guys. We know Texas Vino. This is Michael.
This is Will.
Cheers.
Cheers.